Broadcasting the boisterous part of the fastest game in the world. Strap on your lids and lace them up, Rook. You're listening to the BarnChirpers Hockey Podcast. Take a lap!
Yeah.
What's up, boys?
What's up? Clap it up, boys.
Clap it up, clap it up. Let's do this thing. We're here. We're deep in it now. Round 2, baby.
We're going to jump in because
we are jumping. There's a lot to talk about.
We can't skip over this. We had the big old draft lottery.
Yeah, well, quotations on lottery.
Yes.
We'll have a later episode on this. Definitely want to have Corey in on this live conversation of this. But yeah, in quotation marks, lottery, because was it really a lottery, Justin? Was it really a random selection of teams to get the number 1 pick, to get a generational player like Connor Bedard? Was it a lottery, Justin?
Well, we're showing the graphic here. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the graphic of the odds. We're showing the graphic of the odds.
Yeah.
Pay close attention as I switch to the next slide and tell me if you see anything different.
Interesting.
Is that a lottery?
Interesting. Is that a lottery? Because to me, literally, every single pick that was predicted stayed the exact same, except the top 3 picks.
I wonder why that could be.
And hey, Justin, Justin, where is Chicago? Where was Chicago projected at? For some reason, even though I'm looking right at this graphic, I can't seem to tell. Can you please tell me where Chicago was in this draft lottery? Projected
3 at 11.5% chance of getting.
Okay, not too bad of odds there. And hey, Justin, who was the number 1 projected pick, and what was their percentage?
Anaheim Ducks with 18 point something. I can't see behind the StreamYard.
Yeah. Okay, because the Ducks were the absolute bottom of the barrel worst team in the league this year, right? Correct? Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. Let's go to that next slide and see how it actually turned out. Actually, before you do that,
let's go back.
No, hurry up. We didn't see that, right?
We didn't.
I just have a quick question. So did the Chicago Blackhawks happen to? They had a pretty good year this year, right? They were a winning team. They did a lot. They were leading the Central, right? They did well, right?
No.
Oh, you're saying they tanked?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right. But they still have superstars on their roster, right? They're just rebuilding, correct?
Well, Taves just stepped away, right?
He did. Yeah. But they didn't trade away their previous generational talent, did they?
Oh no, they didn't trade Patty Kane to the Rags, who lost in the first round to the Devils.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. So none of that happened. Okay, so what we're saying is that Chicago is essentially, not only were they the third worst team in the league this year, they also lost both of their previous superstars, and they are a crap team, an original 6. So that's what you're telling me. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead. But they're probably not going to win the lottery, right? I mean, only 11%. The Ducks are favored.
Yeah, big time.
And Columbus is favored over Chicago too. So, which makes sense considering those are the 2 bottom teams in the league this year.
Two teams who could use a talent like a Connor Bedard.
They really could. So go ahead and switch over that.
Sorry, Joe. Sorry, it's Chicago at the number 1.
Oh, well, man, I tell you what, they really do deserve that number 1 pick, though. I tell you what, they haven't had a generational talent in at least 16 years. They haven't picked number 1 in at least I don't know, 8 years or so, so they're due for sure. Okay, enough joking aside. This we talked about this in the group chat, and again, we're gonna have a longer episode on this when Corey is here, but we all called that this was gonna happen years ago that Chicago was gonna get this specific class, the number 1 pick. Yeah. And it is effing bullshit.
It is
absolute bullshit.
And it's the argument being original 6 and Bettman doesn't want, Chicago to be poor for very long.
No,
but
like,
why not?
how can you? And not only that, Corey brought up a very good point too. Literally this year, did we just forget about the Kyle Beach incident within the Blackhawks organization?
Clearly,
misconduct, sexual assault, among a lot of other things, where not only a coach that wasn't even part of the Blackhawks organization anymore, Joel Quenneville, was the Florida Panthers coach, and he resigned because of all this. So did we totally just forget about that? Clearly. This whole incident? But hey, you know what? We're going to reward you with a number 1 pick for generational talent. That makes sense.
Right.
Again, I don't want to necessarily this because we're talking about the playoffs, but my biggest gripe with this, not only that Chicago gets the number 1 pick and it clearly looks like a rigged quote unquote lottery. If you show, I watched the special, which I'm sure a lot of others did. Like they show the numbered balls in the tumbler, right? They show that, and then all of a sudden this guy's walking out with cards. Like, okay, so who decides this lottery, quote unquote? Like, had you given me that, even if you rigged that, if you gave me that, at least you can pretend like this is legit. At least you can pretend like this is randomly selected. You know what I mean? And not only that, literally every single pick from 16 up to 3 stayed the same.
Exactly.
How? It's like you're not even trying to not make it look rigged, you know? Anyway, we'll get into it. We'll get into that at a later episode. Let's talk about round 2. Let's talk about round 2.
All right. So we want to get into
just. I love the NHL so much. Hockey is obviously my favorite sport. That's why we're doing this podcast. Before we even have this podcast, everybody who knows me knows that I love hockey. But man, in the most recent time frame, 3 months, the NHL is really making me hate the NHL.
They're
big
doing
time.
A lot of really dumb things that are turning people away.
Their own. Might as well call up Lit here because they're their own worst enemy. Anyway, let's move on to round 2. Let's get into this.
To round 2, we got a little graphic here that we can look at. It's pretty. It's very pretty.
Oh my gosh, we're starting off hot, baby.
Man, oh man.
Who would have thought the Florida Panthers are about to sweep the Toronto Maple Leafs? I didn't.
Not us.
Not even close. No. I hadn't pegged the Panthers at all to be this far, let alone going up 3-0 on the Toronto Maple Leafs. What is happening? Bobrovsky has a 1.96 goals against average right now, Justin. Bobrovsky.
What is that, like 3 goals lower than usual?
What do we do with our hands? How is Sergei Bobrovsky Mr. I'm good for 5 goals a game every time I start? Where the fuck did he come from?
Dude, it's shocking. And I managed to catch most of the third period of game 3. And they just look like they want it more is the thing. They just look polished and hungry.
Yeah. The current Florida Panthers team that is on the ice right now is what last year's President's Trophy winners should have been.
Absolutely.
They're essentially, it's crazy to think that last year the President's Trophy Florida Panthers are essentially what should have. They were essentially that wild card team that they were this year. You know what I'm saying? Like they literally are just they're in bizarro world right now. They flip flopped. Because last year they did not look like a President's Trophy team in the playoffs. They looked like a wild card team. And now they look like what a President's Trophy team is. They're battling. They're just doing simple stuff. The simple things to hockey. They're dumping it in. They're going to get the puck. They're laying the body. And they're taking shots every chance they get. They're not trying to be pretty. And it's working. Because whether Toronto – I don't know if they just don't care or what, but Florida's making them look like a joke.
And they look defeated. I don't know if you've seen any of like the post-game interviews.
Oh, yeah.
but they look just downright defeated. And you're down 3-0, so like I don't know that you can necessarily be chipper, but they just look like they have no answer. And it's like, well, you did the first thing. You got over that first hump.
You got over the hump, and now what? I mean, Matthews hasn't really shown. Matthews has 2 assists in this series. Johnny T, I don't have it right in front of me, but I believe he has 1 assist in this series. Mitch Marner has, I think, 2 goals, 2 assists in this series. Like, the big guys aren't showing up.
Yeah.
They're not showing up. Before I bag on them anymore, I do want to give credit before I take it away from Samsonov. In game 2, his post-game interview, somebody asked him about if he was noticing how well Bobrovsky's playing and all that. And I do love his quote. He literally just said, "I don't give a fuck." And I'm like, yeah, okay, Sammy, show some attitude. You guys are down 0-2, but that's the attitude. Like, yeah, let's fucking go. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I loved that comment by him because he seemed unfazed in the post-game interviews. Like, yeah, we sucked. We didn't win this one, but what about Bobrovsky? I don't give a fuck. He literally said, I don't give a fuck. So I love that. And now I'm going to take him down because he's okay, it's easy for me to say because I'm just talking into a microphone right now. I'm not playing in the NHL. But I did spend half of my life playing hockey growing up in Minnesota, and I was also a goalie. And Samsonov gets hurt again.
Yep.
Again, it didn't look like hardly anything in this. Essentially, it was a collision into the net. He looks like maybe snapped his head to the side. Perhaps he was kind of going down the butterfly, kind of making a splits. His own player ran into him, and then he kind of went backwards into the post. But really, we've all seen a lot worse, and guys get back up from that. But my thing with Samsonov, he just seems like a little bitch, honestly, because he's been hurt the same way before. The last time when he was hurt earlier this season, same thing. Like, he gets hit and then he's like lays face down on the ice and just lays there. It's the same thing that happened this time. Like, you're supposed to be a hockey player, bud. Man up a little bit. Again, it's easy for me to say because I'm just talking into a microphone. I get that. But at the same time, like, you're supposed to be the guy, and you're kind of letting your team down if you're just bitching out. Like, like, what actually, again, I didn't look at the injury report, but from the looks of it, like, dude, get up. That wasn't bad. Like, literally, you've been actually run into a lot worse and you were just fine. So what is it about this time? I don't know if it's a, I don't know, maybe in the back of his head, like, kind of some type of cop out, like, oh, well, I haven't been playing great, so maybe if I pretend like I'm hurt, then blah, 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 then they won't hate me so much because I was hurt. I don't know. I'm just making shit up. But again, I realize it's easy for me to say because I'm talking into a microphone, but I'm just saying, if the season is on the line, the series is on the line, and I'm the guy in goal, you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to lay down pretending like I'm hurt. I'm going to get up and I'm going to play my ass off. And then if it shows that I am hurt, well, then that's another story. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, hockey players don't generally pretend to be hurt.
So looking at, I just kind of quickly looked up at looking for an update, and it takes forever to get to it, but it's still unclear what Samsonov's injury is. However, Maple Leafs head coach Sheldon Keefe said that he has been ruled out for Wednesday's Game 4 and is considered day-to-day. So Wall will get the start for Game 4.
Perfect. That's going to go great for them.
Big elimination game, and your guy can't even muster up the stones to play. I mean, hopefully it's nothing head-related because, MRI, but...
Yeah, again, like, it did seem like because he was going one way and his head was turned, and the collision that his head moved one way. I mean, hard to say, right? It's difficult to say. Maybe it was a concussion, but I don't know. I bring that up because the last time he got hurt And there's been other times in the series, the previous series with Tampa Bay, where he did the same lay down on the ice thing with his head down and like essentially laying out like a frog. His legs are like a frog and he's laying down like he's dead man in a pool. He did that in the Tampa Bay series too. So like I have a hard time believing that you're actually hurt. I feel like, I don't know. I just, I mean, whatever, man. Like Toronto can F off. I don't really care about them anyway.
Hopefully 6K is in their future.
I mean,
get Sammy and Mustache Murray out of there.
They need, we talked about that in a previous episode, that of all the moves that Toronto made, how did they not go out and get a goaltender?
It doesn't make sense. So more on that eventually.
Doesn't make sense.
I mean, look, man, all credit to the Panthers, man. They're playing and they're
for real, taking nothing away from the Panthers. They are doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They're kicking ass. So, they're probably going to finish the sweep tomorrow.
God, I hope so. Like, there's this sick part of me that just hopes so.
Yeah, I mean, it would be hilarious, honestly, just to see just the uproar in Toronto if they get swept. Like they make it out of the first round finally, and they get swept. You know,
be hilarious.
But, it would be funny for sure. It would be funny.
So I don't know how much of this one you've been able to watch, Edmonton and Vegas.
I've watched all but the first game.
Oh, okay. Well, lucky you, because I don't know what it is about Vegas. Like every time a Vegas game, like I'm wanting to check in, and like I'll check in, and I get so like last night. It's not my fault. I tuned into the game and it was already 5-1. Like in the third, I'm like, well. And like it's just icing after icing after icing after icing, and I'm like, I don't want to watch this. That's the point. Yeah, even though there was 6 goals total on the board, it was kind of a boring game. Like I even happened to check out the highlight video after, like I kind of skimmed through the game, like just looking at points and whatnot. So I didn't necessarily watch the full game of yesterday's game, but even in the highlight video, like the third period started. It did the opening faceoff, and then the video went right to the last 15 seconds of the third. Like it was just boring. Even though there were 6 goals on the board, it was just boring, But that was yesterday. That was the previous game, and then the 2 games before that essentially was kind of just what you expect from the Edmonton Oilers. Like it was just a shootout, like we've talked about, back and forth. You score, I score. You score, I score. But what I've been thinking about is, out of all the playoff hockey that we've watched and of all the high scores that we have seen thus far, even just speaking of just in round 2 itself so far, and we've talked about this, I never count out the Edmonton Oilers ever. Yeah, ever. Like there is literally not one other team right now in round 2 that has put up so many goals in their games where I'm like thinking at any minute, like, oh yeah, they can come back and win this. But Edmonton, whatever it is, I'm like, oh, they could score 5 goals in 2 minutes. Like it does not matter the deficit or that the Oilers are in, and vice versa. It doesn't matter how much ahead they are. I think the same thing. Like, oh, they could probably blow it in 2 seconds. So it's interesting. The Edmonton Oilers, as we've talked about before, and like you said, until they actually do it, hard to put any faith in them. But it'll be this. We talked about it. We already called it. This is probably going to go the distance because, again, just you win, I win. You win, I win. So it's going to come down to who gets the last goal. Am I right? That's the way it is. Oh.
What is funny about this is how have they not played Johnny Quick yet? He has not appeared at all.
I was just thinking that because was it Thompson or Brisson who goes out, and then Aiden Hill relieves him on the injury,
yeah,
right?
It's only been Laurent Brisson, and Aiden Hill has been his backup. And I'm just like, why did you?
What was the point of giving up Quick?
Why did you give up a draft pick to get Johnny Quick if you're not going to use him?
Somebody who has experience.
You got a guy that's won 2 Stanley Cups, 2 in 3 years, and you're not playing him for against a team that is a high-scoring team that you could use a veteran goalie that knows what he's doing. He might get lit up too. That's not to say that he wouldn't, but you got a veteran goalie.
Yeah.
What are you doing? But maybe they're just saving him for like a like I don't know. Hey, we'd rather not put you on the bench as a backup. Like why do you want to be a backup or something like that? I don't know. But same thing. Why would you go out and get him if you're not going to play him? Yeah. You're just wasting money. And he's probably not going to sign. You know what I mean? He's not going to stick around. So I don't know. Why would he? He hasn't. Yeah. So, but yeah, this is what I expected. It was another high scoring game. Every game has scored at least the winning team has scored at least 5 goals.
Yeah, chances are that trend continues, and
I would imagine so.
Distance, yeah.
So
I mean, it just which goalie puts their foot down last, I guess is what's going to happen here.
You got that, John Madden.
There we go. All right, so let's go to the one that's near and dear to my heart.
Oh man, boy, oh boy. Go ahead, you start.
How much of that game 3 did you look? I want to bring up this clip real quick. Well, you know what? Never mind. I'm not gonna. I was gonna, but
well,
I want to start.
I watched all of game 3.
Oh, good. I'm going to start with the important thing that happened, tonight just before we came on. And I think it was the key to why game 3 happened the way it happened. Timo fucking Meyer.
Yeah.
Scores
Timo fucking Meyer.
He scores the first goal, and it wasn't in a, this is what I need Timo to do kind of way. Like it was kind of gritty down near the goal. Like Jack Hughes with the one-hander between his legs passes to him, and he just kind of tips it pretty up over.
It was pretty.
And it's just like, that's what we need to do. Get in close, beat him, show him that he can be beaten, shake him up a little bit. And then just from there, like Jack snipes one, and the offense showed up finally. Nico gets one. Like we already said, Timo gets one. Fucking Mike McLeod having like what a playoff for Mike McLeod.
Yeah, he's had a good old time, hasn't he?
So like the team finally showed up on offense, and
they did.
The same thing happened tonight. And I don't know what's going on in there right now, but within the first 10 minutes, Timo takes a shot from the circle. It gets tipped in by Jackie Hughes, but that's what we need. Timo needs to shoot the fucking puck. Just keep shooting. We're going to beat them. So,
yeah, I mean, so I want to touch on game 2 real quick. In game 2, the Hurricanes scored 6 goals, and they did 3 times where they scored 2 in a matter of, less than a minute. Mm-hmm. Right. And I had texted you because essentially, I mean, Lindy Ruff, he pulled out Schmid, which was the right thing to do. Like, don't let the kid continue to get lit up. And I texted you, I was like, if I was Lindy, after that 5th goal, I would have taken a timeout.
Yeah.
Right. Because the first 2, boom, boom. All right. That sucks. But, okay, we're down 2-0, whatever. Later on, happens again. 3-4, boom, boom. Oh, shit. When that 5th goal happened, if I was Lindy, I would have taken a timeout. I'd have brought the dudes in and be like, listen, the game is getting away from us. This has happened already 4 other times. Get it together. If nothing else, play for some effing pride.
Yeah.
And, we're just playing a guessing game. Like, would that have 6th goal happen? Would the Devs have made some type of comeback? We don't know. We're just playing a guessing game. But I feel, especially in a playoff, like you're getting lit the F up. Mm-hmm. Take your time out. Yeah. You know the game is gone. Yeah, of course. But stop the bleeding. Play for, get the guys together to play for some pride, right? Well, that didn't happen in game 2. And as we know, as we just talked about, game 3, Devs came out swinging, right? Yeah. And I know we don't have the exclusive locker room talk that Lindy Ruff gave before game 3, but I feel like I want to try to imagine what it might have sounded like if you'll indulge me for a minute here. Okay.
Absolutely.
I feel like it went something like this. Lindy, the guys are all taping up their sticks, and they're lacing their skates and putting on their lids and stuff. And Lindy walks in, and everybody gets quiet, and he just goes to the middle of the room and looks around, and goes a little something like this, probably. Great moments are born from great opportunity. And that's what you have here tonight, boys. That's what you've earned here tonight. One game. If we played them 9 times, they'd probably win 8. But not this game. Not tonight. Tonight, we skate with them. Tonight, we stay with them. And we shut them down because we can. Tonight, we are the greatest hockey team in the world. You were born to be hockey players. Every one of you. And you were meant to be here tonight. This is your time. Their time is done. It's over. I'm sick and tired of hearing about what a great hockey team the Carolina Hurricanes have. Screw them. This is your time. Now go out there and take it. End quote by Lindy Ruff, for sure. Obviously, that was the great Herb Brooks from the movie Miracle. But I feel like it's something like that because the Devs came out in game 3 and whooped that ass, Justin.
And, a lot is being made out of they give up 3 shorties late, which sucks.
It does suck.
I'm not going to act like that's not cool, but a lot of that was in garbage time when they're up like 6-1.
And they ended up winning 8-4. So
right.
I mean, yeah, the 3 shorties that sucks. But at the same time too, I feel they were pressuring so much,
yes.
And when you pressure like that, because the D is pinching in, they're moving in on the zone too. So if one little pop up of the puck, somebody can get on a breakaway and what have you, and be gone. So that's exactly what happened because the Devils were pressuring them. And you know what? When you do that, that's an offensive mindset gameplay, and that's going to happen. You're going to give up some chances. It is what it is. You still put up 8 on the board. Dude, that's a damn good game.
Yeah. So there's very little to complain about. You wish VTech could stop some of those, but like I said, most of those are on breakaways. To your point,
sure.
Just errant passes, and if anyone's going to get you with speed, it's Carolina. So
for sure. And you know what? They made that again. The Devils just love to go down 2-0.
Jeez.
But doing that in the first game back at home was huge too, because you not only win the game, you get back in the series, you make it a series, but you keep the crowd engaged too. The crowd, they probably showed up again tonight. I'm sure they're probably loud as hell. Yeah. I'll watch the game later. So that's important too, because if the crowd, even if the Devils had lost, they'd be down 3-0. So that's a big thing. The crowd would still come for them, but it's going to kind of be like, yay. Instead of having won that game and now they're coming into the barn and they're hyped up, So it's that whole motivation thing, the whole swing of momentum is a huge thing. So I think that's even a testament to going down 2-0 again. And they came out and put up an 8 spot on the board. Dude. And you had mentioned, guys producing finally, that's what they needed. So,
and the final thing I'll say about that is hopefully they keep that up, because obviously to win the series, they're going to have to win some in Carolina.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can get this dub tonight, and go back to Raleigh and get one there. And
Raleigh's loud too.
Very loud. I didn't even realize how loud until I watched game one. I was
Well, so and even I went to a Canes game last year, and they played the Mustard Cats actually, and it was loud as hell in there.
yeah.
So I can, I don't know. I mean, I've never played in the NHL, Justin. I don't know if you know, but I do recall from my days of playing hockey. You don't necessarily hear crowd noise.
Mhm.
At least I can't recall really hearing crowd noise, boos or cheers. Of course, that's just talking about playing in high school. Like, even though the stands were full, like it's not 20,000 people. So, but you kind of just don't hear it really, from what I remember. But I still think in a place like that in Raleigh, which is very loud, you probably get some rumblings. At least when you're on the bench, like, oh wow, it's kind of loud in here,
Loud in here.
Or even the fact of like trying to talk, right? You have to scream louder than you normally would just to let the sound carry, So, yeah, hopefully they get the dub tonight. I'm pulling for them.
Here's hoping. And now, are you a crack addict, Joe?
I'm a crack addict. I'm addicted to cracking skulls and the don't stop static. Dude, the boys. This team from out of nowhere. They're not relying on one guy.
Nope.
Literally the whole team is showing up to play. We talked about this last episode. Everybody is pitching in. Everybody is doing their part. Everybody's getting on the score sheet, doing what needs to be done. Yanni Gord might be my new favorite player, honestly. That guy is all over the place. And he's a third line guy. He's like on the checking line. And he's, speaking of shorthanded goals, speaking of doing the garbage stuff to get things done. And they lit up old Jakey Otter for 7 goals last game.
It's crazy, dude. They chased. I was texting back and forth with Tina, and they go, actually, like it was 4-0, and I'm like, Otter's getting lit up, and they came back like a little bit later, and then I'm like, who saw Wedgwood getting ice time against the Kraken?
I know, right? Yeah,
who saw that coming?
Nobody. And you know what? Like, they had, Saucy's goal, Otter should have had. Bernier's goal, Otter should have had. So some puck luck definitely happened, but those are, we talked about it last week. Like, those are the things that you need to win a cup. Like, you need those things to go right, and it did. And the other thing we've been talking about this entire show since its existence, all 3 episodes now, is especially now in the playoffs, taking shots. You got to just shoot the puck because, again, those puck luck things happen. Hell, the first goal got scored because Heiskanen took a shot in the face and Eberle just happened to be there, did a little spinorama, boom, in the goal. And that's what opened up the floodgates.
Yep. And because it was nothing in the first. I thought I was in for a knockdown dragout. And look, I love the Kraken's brand of hockey. I love watching them play hockey because it is a lot of like 2-1s, 3-1s. Like, usually it isn't, a 6-1 affair.
Right.
But watching it just open up like that in the second, I'm just like just every couple minutes, another one's going in. I'm like, what is happening? Like, Otter is having such a great run in the playoffs. Now, mind you, he'll be back and he'll be fine.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I don't think he'll necessarily be shaken. But yeah, it was like 4 goals in under 6 minutes.
Right. And they're just, again, like, any way you can get them, like that's what happened in the Carolina game too. Like, any way you can get them, just get them. And
exactly.
It was a pleasure to watch. They're such a fun team to watch. And, I'm such a huge fan of the Kraken. And I wish when we did, because there's this part of me, obviously, I still want New Jersey and Seattle.
Of course.
But like, I thought when we're doing picks, like I was leading too much with heart if I picked the Kraken.
Right. Yeah,
But
same.
I've seen enough Kraken hockey to know that they can hang with everybody in the West.
They really can. Yeah.
And they're a great road team too.
And what was really great, not only about this 7-2 victory, I said on last episode that I was worried about them not throwing the body enough. In this game, they were throwing the hits. They were laying in the body.
Yes, sir.
And for those that don't necessarily understand kind of the deeper depths of hockey, like when I say lay in the body, not just bone crushing hits that you see on highlight reels. Yeah, those things happen and those are great, but those aren't necessarily the hits that I'm talking about. Lay in the body is literally like just when you're going in the corner, you're going for the puck, boom, you lay the body or whatever. They're trying to break out. The other team's trying to break out from their own zone and they're driving up the boards. And you lay the body into the sideboards or whatever. Just those hits over and over and over again. That's not necessarily bone crushing, but you lay a hit in, you lay the body in, like that's taking out energy. You're getting hit, that's taking energy away from you because then now you have to restart your skate, right? All this is about energy. And you think about a defenseman. So again, just some little inside hockey, right? Whether you play the right side or the left side, the puck gets dumped in, whatever side it is, that's your duty. You're going in there to get it. Well, guess what's probably going to happen? If the other team is coming in to lay the body, boom, you get hit. There it is. And then the play continues. If you start the breakout, you're going up the boards. If you have the puck, guess what? If you pass it, you're going to get hit again. So let's just say, for instance, the puck gets dumped 20 times into the right side and you're the right defenseman. You're probably getting hit at least 2 times each time the puck is getting dumped in. So now you're talking about taking 40 hits. The point of it is like, that's the whole point about a team laying the body. You're just beating and wearing down the other team energy-wise. You're taking it. They're having to take a hit. They're trying to make a play. They're taking another hit. Guess what? After 60 minutes, you're tired and you're sore and you're hurt. So trying to make plays, like that's the whole part of hockey is laying that body in. Yeah, again, those bone-crushing hits happen, but those aren't the ones that actually are helping to win the hockey game. It's those little ones here and there, every single play. And the Kraken weren't really doing a whole lot of that in the Colorado series. And ever since this series has started, 3 games in now, they've continuously done more each and every game. And you love to see it. I love to see it. Oh, absolutely. And it doesn't surprise me at all that they're up 2-1 in the series because of that and those little things.
Actually, I feel like there was something else I said when I was talking to Tina that for some reason is escaping my memory, which eventually we'll have Tina on the pod because
hell yeah, we will.
Who can talk pucks with us.
Hell yeah. And so obviously game 2, Dallas came out 1-4-2. Captain America himself, Joe Pavelski, gets 4 goals, all 4 goals. Like, dude, or excuse me, he had a hat trick. But like obviously that they came out and they just kind of they got the pucks in the net on that game. But Grubauer has been absolutely outstanding every single game. Even though they lost that game 2, he hit for 4 goals. Like it's kind of the same as how we just talked about Otter. Yeah, Otter got lit up. Otter let in 5 of the 7 goals. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of just a bad game, just like the one Seattle lost. Grubauer let in 4. Like you sometimes just have a bad game, but other than that, Grubauer has been on fire. The best I have ever seen him play, ever. Literally. The only thing that worries me a little bit is his stamina going forward. Can he continue to be at this level with just the one day off?
Right. Yeah.
Because he's never really, while he's won the cup with Washington, he got replaced by Braden Holtby in the first round on that year in 2018. So like Holtby came in, then Holtby ran the rest of the playoffs. So like he only had those handful of games in that series. With Colorado, Grubauer was the guy until Kemper came in. So he didn't necessarily have a whole lot of games. So I'm a little concerned about his stamina moving forward. But as of right now, he looks to be unstoppable. Like the best Grubauer you've ever seen.
Has Martin Jones seen any ice time?
Nope.
Oh, wow.
Nope.
Wow. So
It's
yeah,
all grew.
like
It's all
yeah,
grew.
go. And last thing I'll say about this, and it's not really about the game per se, but talk about barn. Like Seattle's high on the barns I want to go to, like really
Yes.
high
Oh
now.
my God, dude. Yeah. I mean, they had the in the deep teal towel, or their blue towels, and that place was just rocking, dude. Yeah, you love to see it. You love to see it. I would love to go there. I allegedly, because it's so far underground, it gets like the decibel level reaches well over 100 often.
Wow.
Allegedly, I don't know that to be certain. That's only hearsay, but because it's so far underground, so
It's just there's like a couple really cool things that I noticed, and intros to a hockey game are pretty cool. We'll talk about these like as we get into the postseason because you visited a couple barns, but
just a couple.
I saw like some fog and some red eyes in the Kraken intro. I was like, oh
Yeah,
I need to be there for that. And then this is stupid, and it's teed up from the name of the freaking from the name of the club, but as they're in the tunnel and they get ready for like to come out like for the warm-ups just before the anthem, it's ladies and gentlemen, release the Kraken, and they come out of the tunnel. So stupid, but like so awesome. Like it's so fitting.
Yeah.
I was just like, man, I want to go there so bad.
I'll be honest. I feel like if I have to come up with the money for this, but I feel like if they do make it to the Stanley Cup, I'm gonna go to Seattle and see a Stanley Cup game. I don't really have the money for it at all, but I might just have to take an early withdrawal from my retirement or something like that. I feel like if they make it to the Stanley Cup, I have to go. I have to.
Absolutely.
Like, dude. Yeah, it's I hope it happens. I really do. I mean, we talked last episode about new teams being in the contention to win the cup, teams that haven't even been close to it, even had an opportunity for it. And this playoffs round 2 now is full of it. So, the most recent, like we talked about last week, Carolina Hurricanes in 2006. So that's awesome. Like, let's go.
Like, yeah. And, I want to put this out here too, because obviously I'm rooting for my Devs, of course.
Obviously. Yeah, of course. So I'm rooting for them. For you.
Know what? You know what? I do want to say this. I didn't realize that the Canes Sebastian Aho was a real Aho.
Do tell.
Just a lot of like late cross checking.
Oh yeah. He's
not
he also
dirty, but like not exactly on the up and up.
Yeah, it's I mean, I think with that, I totally agree with you. I think that he probably just happens to be getting shown doing that. Like, there's a lot of that happens that just doesn't get shown. But yeah, I mean, I do agree. I saw, I don't remember if it was last game. Yeah, it was last game. Once they started getting away from started getting real chippy, cross checks to the back and all that, which has been, we mentioned that back in the Bruins series with Tkachuk doing that to Hathaway. Like, I've seen a lot of those like cross checks to the back after the fact this playoffs. And like, dude, again, why is nobody punching somebody in the face?
Well, and that's why I bring it up, because Tatar goes to the box because he retaliated.
Yeah, and they usually get the retaliation guy,
right? And it's fine, but like that set up a whole lot, because that was early in the game. I think it might have been in the second, so that it was like 3-0 or something, and Tatar goes back and like, look, obviously I don't want to see him go to the box. You don't want to see him go short. You don't want to see him go on the penalty kill. But the fact that they just didn't just let it happen, and then later on, Jack actually gets in a wrestling match with him. Like, he's like,
yep.
Just not getting pushed, letting themselves get pushed around. So
that's what you got to do.
And it didn't take them out of their game either, it's what you want to see. I just want to see the boys. I just want to see them be the team that they've been all year. And if they get beat, so be it. But,
sure. Yeah, exactly.
But if they were how they were in game 1 and game 2, that's not them. And watching them just get murdered, that's not them. So I don't, obviously you don't want to see them get murdered, period. But like,
yeah, exactly. Well, that little spanking on the hiney by Lindy, doing that motivational speech in game 3, obviously I totally quoted him exactly. So, that's
transcript. Joe read the transcript.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, let's go, boys. Like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Cracking Devils in the Stanley Cup final. Let's go.
It's not that far away. Like that.
It's not that far away.
Out of the realm of possibility. It's
not that far away. So, I mean, really, whoever makes it in the East, if the Crack make it that far, is not too far away.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep. Well, I guess that wraps us up, right?
I mean, is that we got anything else? We'll be back some point next. Well, next show we'll be in round 3 probably.
Yeah, we'll hopefully be able to talk about some conference championships.
I imagine so, because let's look at this schedule real quick, because it's Tuesday today when we're recording, so you're hearing this probably on Wednesday. So by next Tuesday, essentially would be, if it went this far, Game 7 for Edmonton and Vegas, and Game 7 for Florida and Toronto. So that's not funny. So yeah, I guess the next time that we talk will be conference championship time. So yeah, Justin, you good there? You good, Hulkster?
Yeah.
All right, stick taps and sellies, boys. Let's roll.
Woo! End broadcast.
And